I am here with one of my longtime friends, a man I have so much trust and faith in, Joshua Onysko. Welcome.
Thank you, Waylon. It's amazing to be here.
So I am wearing a Pangea shirt. You're the founder of Pangea Organics. It's one of the companies that I'm very critical, as is Joshua, of a lot of natural products companies that are pretending to do good stuff and are in plastic. We'll get into all of that. Pangea has been one of the quality companies that I've trusted for, really since Elephant started around the same time, I think.
19 years, baby.
19, you got us beat. We're 17, almost 18. We're like a little brother. And now you've started this new company, Alpine Provisions. Without getting into the plastic thing, what is in Alpine? What do you offer?
So Alpine came about from an idea 3 years ago. I wanted to start a more affordable kind of natural organic brand that supported a nonprofit I have that sends disadvantaged youth to outward bound programs in the world. And the idea was, how can we ask future generations to give a shit about the environment if they have no access to it? And so it's a full scholarship to outward bound programs. And we started with Castile soaps. It's a thick, all-purpose, organic, multi-use, biodegradable. The whole idea is everything in the company is under $15. And we wanted to launch plastic-free, but the company's only 14 months old. And we've quickly realized that it was a much, much bigger project. So we launched with 100% post-consumer plastic, which is actually great because most plastic is never recycled. And buying 100% PCR, supports the reuse of plastic that already exists.
So let's slow down there because there's so much in what you just said. So you're supporting this outward bound program for disadvantaged youth to get into the environment, to experience nature.
Yep.
That's
so
pretty amazing.
5% of all sales fund that scholarship fund. So by the end of this year, I think we'll have already sent 6 kids on full scholarships for outward bound programs.
And that's super needed. And then also a huge and valid concern of the organic or natural products industry is it's, for rich white folks, it prices itself out of, most of America, most of the world. So your whole goal is to keep, with Alpine Provisions, your new company, is to make everything accessible.
Yeah, right now, because we're a young company, everything's under $15. We're hoping within 2 years we can actually get it under $10.
Under $10. And then, as we know, trashing our environment is often largely at the expense of minority communities, communities of color, disadvantaged communities, poorer communities. That's where all the Superfund sites are. It doesn't, you don't see Superfund sites in rich white neighborhoods. So caring about the environment intersectionally has to be something like with feminism, like with anti-racism, that hopefully we can make accessible for everyone, right?
Absolutely. Obviously, like, the environmental concern is that we're all affected by garbage, but poor communities are affected far more than other communities, especially in developing countries.
And then I can think of maybe 1 or 2 companies, and they're quite small, they're wonderful, that are plastic free. Your whole thing is #LifeAfterPlastic. And you're now live on Kickstarter. You're a community grassroots created company. We can go, as Elephant already has, and as I will personally, I hope my staff will, I hope all my friends will, we can go get a huge discount on Alpine Provisions products. And you're going to walk us through what some of your offerings are. And they're all plastic free, which is insane. There's no companies that do that, except for a couple of small ones that I love. And we can get a whole bunch of Alpine Provisions at a great discount through Kickstarter right now. Is that right?
That's correct. Basically, we launch in 4 weeks, so it's coming up pretty quick. And the Kickstarter campaign was created to explain to people what the plastic problem is and offer them a solution. And by supporting the campaign early, you get a pretty significant discount on your product. As a vegan, One of the shocking statistics that I learned in the past year through this project is 100 million marine animals die every year because of plastic pollution. And so my new thinking is it really cruelty free or vegan if it's in plastic? And the answer is no, because we kill 29 million cows a year for beef production. So the plastic actually causes 3 times more deaths than the actual cattle production.
I'm a simple man. Can you say those numbers again? So how many cows and how many marine animals?
We kill 29 million cows a year for beef production.
29 million.
29 million, but plastic pollution kills over 100 million marine animals a year.
And that's like, what are marine animals? Like fish, whales?
Fish, whales, crabs, shrimp, seals, turtles.
It kills tons of birds.
Birds.
Yeah,
birds. I mean,
and then, you know, the problem is so much of the world that isn't vegan is dependent, you know, subsistence level on eating fish, and the fish are getting filled up with plastic. So
yeah, they say that we eat about a credit card worth of plastic a week.
A week
in our water, in our food. We're eating a credit card worth of plastic a week.
And it's now in the dust, they're saying, just it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And what is plastic? Plastic is oil. We fight wars over oil. It's, you know, an intensive extractive process that not like from beginning to end, cradle to grave, it's not good for anything.
8% of the oil production in the world is used for plastic. So plastic was created as a cheap, useless alternative to other forms of packaging like glass and aluminum.
Right. So my problem, I've hated plastic for many, many years. I love to hate plastic, is that there aren't that many alternatives. You go to the grocery store, farmer's market is easier. I love to go to the farmer's market, bring my own bag, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, for people saying that's inaccessible, you can use your food stamps, which Trump is trying to cut at farmer's market. You can get bulk. You know, there are ways to do it affordably, but when you go to the grocery store, it's like a sea of plastic, no pun intended. So now there's an alternative, which is a couple different little companies that I love, and Alpine Provisions, which is offering a wide array, a big menu of, and what's in it is fantastic. Again, Joshua, I have 100% faith in you in terms of the quality and integrity of the product, and that's saying a lot because most companies kind of pretend they're green, but you know, you look at the what's in it and it's palm oil and it's crap and it's not organic. And so what are you offering with Alpine Provisions? What are some of the products?
So it's a pretty basic array of products. So we have shampoos and conditioners, castile soaps, hand sanitizers, bar soaps, lip balms, and deodorants. And so all of the liquid products are in aluminum.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing about aluminum is 84% of the aluminum ever made is actually still being used today, whereas plastic, only 7% is ever recycled, which means all of the plastic that we've created since 1928, when plastic was invented, is still on Earth. In fact, we've created so much plastic that it could actually cover the moon in a foot of plastic. And we contribute 23,000 jumbo jets of plastic into the ocean every year.
23,000
so aluminum
jumbo jet of plastic crashing into the ocean and staying there.
And just staying there forever. Aluminum is amazing, lightweight, super durable. You can print on it without labels. So these aren't labels. This is actually printed directly on the can.
And labels are almost always plastic coated as well.
Almost always. Even on glass bottles, people are putting plastic labels on, but this entire can is actually recyclable, which is cool. And it's lightweight, so it also saves a lot on carbon emissions.
I love that. And so let's go over that stat again. Me being a simple man, 7% of plastic or something is recycled.
So only 7% of plastic is recycled, but it can only actually be downcycled, which means aluminum can be recycled forever. This can turn into another aluminum bottle over and over again, but plastic just
with no degradation. Aluminum is great, just like steel. Basically, it can be recycled, used, Plastic
just like glass,
is degraded.
Yeah.
And when we recycle our plastic, it's almost never actually recycled. It becomes
In fact, the number is going down because we export a lot of our plastic overseas to be reused.
Yeah.
But that's actually going down because people have enough. We're swimming in plastic. We don't need it anymore.
So
Where aluminum has value.
Yeah. So 7% plastic, and you said 84% aluminum is recycled.
Correct.
And just to remind people, we have a huge crowd who's joined. There's a Kickstarter. You can get all the staples, everything Joshua is going through right now, the offerings. Kickstarter is super exciting. It's empowering a generation of entrepreneurs and independent companies instead of having to work for the man. And these companies are not beholden to the man. They can stand up for causes like Black Lives Matter. Alpine Provisions is funding, part of your mission is funding outdoor recreation for disadvantaged youth.
Correct.
And part of the goal is to keep the entire product line accessible financially, unlike most natural organic stuff. Joshua is the founder of Pangea, and the product offerings I have 100% faith in. And if you've followed me or Elephant, we are highly critical of most natural companies. So that's saying a lot. So pray continue. You got aluminum, shampoo, you said conditioner.
Conditioner, all in aluminum, and then our deodorants and lip balms are in these really cool paper tubes. Pretty
Love
easy.
that.
It's a push pop. This is not innovation. They just, it's just a new way of doing things. And
Right.
These tubes obviously can be recycled. They can be composted. You can use them to start a campfire.
Right.
They're very durable. In fact, I've been on the road camping for weeks, and this has been banging around in my backpack, and it's still in perfect condition. So honestly, I have no idea why we ever had to use plastic to begin with.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, that is not like a perfect sample you pull out for video interviews. That's the one that's been banging around for weeks in the wild.
This is used.
And you literally, we don't recommend it, but you literally, when you're done, you could toss it and it would become earth.
Yeah,
unlike plastic, which
just paper. There's nothing else on it, just paper.
And plastic is forever, as I like to say. So fantastic. I want that. And then what else do you got?
That's pretty much it.
Well, you have deodorant, right?
Deodorant, lip balms, shampoos, conditioners, Castile soaps. We have hand sanitizers coming out, and bar soaps, which I'm really excited about because the bar soaps are by far the most sustainable product you can buy. Bacteria, viruses don't grow on bar soaps. It's the reason why our civilization has progressed over the past hundreds of thousands of years is because of the invention of bar soap.
So bar soap, which is a solid soap bar, the virus can't live on that.
Nothing can live on soap. It's basically, what I used to tell people back when Pangea had bar soap is there's less bacteria on a bar soap sitting in a public bathroom than on the plastic container that has the liquid soap. Because like everything lives on plastic. There's nothing there to kill. But on a bar soap, it's the alkalinity is so high that it just kills things. That's why the WHO is like, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. It's because
that's really good to know, because I've kind of thought, like, I don't like the plastic pumps because you can't recycle them and they're plastic, but that you're getting like clean soap out of it, not dirty bar soap.
Yeah, but it's all about the plastic thing it's in.
Yeah. So again, Joshua Onysko, the founder now of Alpine Provisions and Pangea Organics. It's a Kickstarter. You can go there. You can get all these offerings, these staples, these basics at a discount right now on Kickstarter if you jump in. When does the Kickstarter campaign end?
I think it ends in 14 days. It's I think it's 450% funded. There's still I think there's still a couple hundred packs on there. We have a community pack, which is pretty amazing. We had a couple large plastic-free vigilantes fund quite a bit of money towards the campaign to allow people affected by COVID or otherwise to get a half-price pack, which is called the community pack. It's $20. You get a hand sanitizer, a hand soap, and a body wash. It's pretty amazing. All the way up into the Lather It Forward, which if you have the means and want to make plastic-free products accessible to the masses, you can purchase a Lather It Forward pack that offsets the cost of products to other people who might not be financially able to afford the product right now.
Right. And that's even though Alpine Provisions' mission is to keep it accessible, and you're funding good causes around that with disadvantaged youth being able to get out. So what is your position, as a veteran of the natural products industry? We're seeing a couple companies. I saw Ben & Jerry's make a powerful statement, but Ben & Jerry's is owned by Unilever. What is your position? What's your stance? What's your attitude with the Black Lives Matter and the police brutality and other important issues? Anti-plastic is vital in terms of environment. We have feminism, we have anti-racism. As an independent company, what are you able to do here?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons I've stayed independent for 20 years is there isn't a parent company telling us what we can and can't say. We don't need to say PC. You can go on any of our channels and see what our stance is. We just released another letter today. My basic view is, and I posted my stance a couple days ago, and the two camps that people jump on are all lives matter. I'm like, yeah, of course all lives matter, but all people don't have to wake up in the morning and defend that. Like, we have the privilege of waking up in the morning and thinking in our head, my life matters, and until the day comes where all people don't have to wake up in the morning and wonder if they feel like the rest of the world values their lives, then Black Lives Matter. Yeah. It's not like when people say all lives matter, it's like the people that wake up in the morning and already know that are the ones that's their stance. But it literally doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. And
just real quick, our approach at Elephant has been to not condemn people who are saying all lives matter, but to educate them, because there's a lot of blindness around racism. And it was explained to me a couple years ago. And before that, I didn't understand it. I was supportive of Black Lives Matter, but when people said all lives matter, I was like, that sounds good. And someone explained it to me, saying it's sort of like, everyone's sitting around a dinner table and everyone gets served dinner except for one person. And that one person says, do I get dinner? Where's my dinner? And the response of everyone else is to say, all of us deserve dinner. And you're like, well, yes, but you all have dinner. Yeah. Am I going to get dinner? And, people are using the burning house analogy as well. Yeah. Right now, Black Lives Matter. They are not safe, Yeah.
And the other one is people, what about the riots? What about the looting? And I'm like, look, and specifically your audience, like, you have to know that you are being shown looting and burning by the mass media because they profit off of despair. Looting and burning is not the revolution. The revolution is a peaceful protest. They're showing you the 0.02% of the people that are out there because they want to create this conflict, but it's bullshit. Burning and looting is not the revolution. And my view is nobody should be able to tell a race that has been oppressed for hundreds of years how to revolt. We just don't have the right.
Well, we've also seen many instances of these, white supremacists and instigators, people who are just out to break things, jumping into these otherwise peaceful protests and starting trouble. We saw that in Minneapolis. It's been documented. It's been proven. Even a white police officer was doing it. Just to give the media, because everyone from all sides, conservatives and liberals, love to blame media, some credit. The police have been arresting and brutalizing journalists as well. And the journalists overall have done not crappy entertainment media, biased media, but good journalists have been doing a great job showing police brutality too. It's getting exposed. Like Will Smith said, racism isn't worse, it's getting filmed. So that's by citizens, that's by good journalists.
It's incredible. I mean, the work that's being done right now in my life is the best work that's ever been done to get this out into the light. And I'm excited to see where it leads.
Yeah, that's what President Obama, I just finished watching. He did an address yesterday with a number of African-American activists and speakers. And that's what he was saying. He was saying, the 60s, all those protests, they were nothing compared to this. He was given a lot of credit. It's really great to hear from a leader who actually cares about human beings, that a reminder that these protests are a positive, that this pain and this overwhelm where many of us are feeling is just us seeing what is always going on for our Black sisters and brothers, which is they are not safe, like you said.
Yep, I agree.
So because of the nature of Facebook, I'm being a little repetitive here, but if you've just joined Alpine Provisions, can you talk about what you support and keeping the price accessible? And you can buy everything on the Kickstarter link. It's in the sidebar, and get a great deal on it right now for the next, what you said, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's 11 days left.
11 days.
You can see the link in our profile on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, I mean, the entire project over the past year has just been trying to take a brand plastic free, and I feel like our job was to put something out in the market that people could see and say, well, I'm going to choose this. And I'm hoping, as I always hope, that other brands follow suit. In a year, I don't still want to be one of the few brands on the market that are in plastic free packaging. This has to become the norm. This has to become the norm.
Love that. Yeah. So you're setting it, you're kind of creating a path, you're trailblazing here, hopefully.
Correct. With other people. There's other people doing the work as well. Yeah.
And then you mentioned Facebook and Instagram. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience with them as an independent plastic-free brand?
Yeah, so the way Kickstarter campaigns usually go viral is through targeted posts on generally Instagram and Facebook. And Instagram and Facebook flagged our plastic-free ads as a political stance, and they would not let us actually advertise. So the entire campaign has been via word of mouth because we can't advertise plastic-free, and it's mind-blowing to me. But then I was sitting there realizing, I'm like, it makes sense because 99.9% of their advertisers globally sell plastic. Coca-Cola has a $4.4 billion advertising budget, selling sugar. And of course, they're going to flag things that are opposing everything else they sell. So, for those of you.
Before, when you asked me to guess what their budget was, I was like, 500 million. And you were like, it was like at a social network. You were like, how's 4.4 billion?
Yeah. And that's just Coke. Like their actual, not all the brands they own, just Coca-Cola, the one drink. Oh, wow. And so, if you believe in a plastic-free future, we're asking people to just, spread it around. Obviously, right now, our entire platform is based around supporting the movement that's happening with Black Lives Matter, and that is what we're focusing on right now. We've kind of backburnered the Kickstarter campaign, but it is going to continue to go on, and we're excited about launching in July.
Yeah, tomorrow we're doing an anti-racism training with one of the world's most famous anti-racism educators. But watching Obama this morning, he was talking about how young people have made the environmental movement happen. Young people have made Black Lives Matter happen. Young people have made feminism happen. And he talked about all those movements together. And I felt like that was really powerful to have that reminder that while our focus is and should be on Black Lives Matter right now and police brutality and really making structural but also personal changes, all these causes do intersect. And environmental pollution and environmental devastation, as we're seeing with the EPA under Trump, is largely going to affect disadvantaged communities, communities of color. And, there's nothing harder, and I know this from experience. I've interviewed hundreds of natural products companies at Natural Products Expo and elsewhere, than going plastic free and doing it without having deep pockets. And so Kickstarter is going to make that possible, and we get a crazy discount doing it, and it's actually a good product. So, man, I'm just really grateful, frankly, and I'm saying this freely, not as a sponsor kind of thing. I'm really grateful you're doing this, and it's about time.
I appreciate that.
It's about time.
And you get to stare at these psychedelic animals in your shower too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful. I love this art. Who's that art by?
This is Marisa Argon, who lives in Boulder. Yeah. Same person who actually did two of my tattoos.
Love it. She was an elephant intern and a longtime friend, but elephant intern like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something. So there's concern around, we have one question from Nancy. Is there concern around the health of aluminum?
Yeah, so all aluminum containers are generally have a coating inside. So the product is actually not touching the aluminum. That's with beverage cans too. And the coating actually gets vaporized in the recycling process because it's 680 degrees. So for those who are worrying about aluminum and it contaminating the product actually doesn't touch the aluminum.
Our mutual friend Dave Rogers also said further that there's been a whole bunch of studies, scientific studies that have come out debunking the connection of Alzheimer's and aluminum, that aluminum is actually safe to work with in cooking or in storage. Is that true? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I've looked into it obviously as I went into this project, and there is tons of science debunking. I personally only cook with stainless steel and cast iron because I think it's just superior. I don't cook with aluminum, but this to me is by far our best alternative next to having a global refilling platform, which is our next project in the next 3 years.
Okay. Well, if Lindsay or Molly are on, let's find an article with some good science on the connection or lack thereof of aluminum and Alzheimer's, whatever it says. Let's get that in the comment for Nancy. Joshua, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Waylon.
What's that?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm honored. I'm glad we finally worked it out. And I am going right now to your Kickstarter, and I'm going to get the best deal I can find, which is probably the most. And I encourage all of our readers, if you're still here, thank you for joining. Joshua is the real deal. Alpine is the real deal. Pangea is the real deal. And that's in a sea of BS companies. There are so few. I think I go to Natural Products Expo and I interview like 18 companies total out of thousands that I have respect and admiration for. And
thanks, Waylon. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're one of them. So thank you so much, Joshua Onysko and Alpine Provisions. The link, again, is in the sidebar. Go support them before the campaign ends.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, bud.